Welcome to the Weekend Chats with Joanna Ruth and Xanthia Chilio.
Join the Millennial Force WhatsApp community via our website and wait for the Zoom link.
Join us on Zoom and be part of the conversation.
Healing into harmony, feeling and community, made for you, of course, by Millennial Force.
Should I send? I'll send this link to our WhatsApp group.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
they should
Good
know
idea.
that they are invited. Everyone's invited. I'll even, quickly put it on WhatsApp. Not WhatsApp, Instagram as well.
Yeah.
So I guess what's the date today? It's the 27th of July. I think we should make it Monday chats because it seems to be the
Well,
vibe
not officially, or maybe things we've spoken about on the weekend chats. I don't know.
Yeah. Would we like to have
Review of the previous week chats, but I'm not changing the graphics. It's too
yeah, that's right. We've spoken about that.
Yeah.
That's now joining.
You never know what it'll turn into later, but for now, we just keep getting delayed, everybody. We just keep getting delayed. Things happen. But cosmic design of things happening,
Yeah.
the events that have been happening that I've had to deal with from Israel, but Xanthia has also had to deal with from Melbourne, been quite pivotal in my learning process and preparing me for what I feel's coming in the next week. So that will be spoken about a little bit in our conversation today. So the topics today are continuing my progressive understanding of trauma bonds and how to repackage all the parts of it to make it really, really simple to understand and implement the earth method to be the skill that helps you emancipate yourself from a trauma bond, and why I feel like that's the key for everyone to focus on it this way. And and I watched Disclosure Day, so we might talk a little bit about that. I made some notes, of course, while I'm watching. But maybe we can start talking about that because that's more fun.
Yeah. We'll start there. I'm just adding it to our Instagram, so that can
Cheers,
be
everybody.
See if we get anybody on there. We're
So
live now.
we might get someone coming into the Zoom to say hi, or people might just watch on YouTube. We'll see what happens, what people want. I think if people want to actually talk to us live, they'll come on the Zoom link. And if people just want to be voyeuristic and see what we're all talking about, they'll go and just watch on YouTube if it's live and they catch it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll cover both
yes.
our platforms.
Yeah, if you find it on YouTube, know that I think we have up to 300 people can get onto the Zoom.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you can have your audio on though. We might change it if people get naughty and they're interrupting the chats. But certainly if you want to interact, like you want to put your hand up or something, I'll work out how to find your comments, or if you put it into the chat, the Zoom chat, then we can answer things live. So that's the idea of being live, if you catch the live. That's why we try to do it at the same time every week, and we're currently failing. But that's okay. That's okay because I'm in Israel. I'm in Israel for another week or so, and then I'll be back in Melbourne, and our weekend chats will be weekend chats. And I'm not sure if we're going to make the next couple either, because we're both on holidays. We're having holidays. I'm actually having a holiday.
I know. I know.
I don't know if it's going to be a real holiday though, because my life is my work, and I'm going to have a holiday from this work that I've been doing, and I'm probably going to do some other work. But I'm also going to have massages and dinners out, and
I think that's the part.
And all that stuff. Yeah. And what are you doing? You're on holidays too.
Yeah, in similar kind of vibe where it's like workish, because I'll be with family and I will you never know how triggered you are or how much work you've done and go back to your family unit. So I'll be
Yes,
doing that for
important.
a week, and I'll be on observation mode of what trauma bonds I still have and how much I can
Mm,
come from a cosmic mind, because we also want to plug that our quiz is now live. You might not have seen it yet. It is a soft launch, but it will be very much in your face very soon. It is actually in our bio on YouTube, and you'll start seeing a lot more posts about it. We'll love, love, love you to do that quiz. It's 10 questions. You get results and recommendations at the end and
and
how
it's
you can.
free. It's free. The first
Yes,
thing is free.
of course. And it's instant too. You get your results straight away. There's no,
Yeah.
have to farm any
And
kind
they're
of
real,
information.
those results pages are really well written.
Go. Like they are written with so much love and care. You'll read them once you do the quiz, and really encourage you to do that. So also subscribe and like, do all the things, because that's how this works, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like we can have more access to more people if more people tell the algorithm that they're interested. So if you subscribe, it triggers that you're interested, you're following along. If you click the bell, there's more people who really, it tells the algorithm you want to catch up with things that are live. If you make a comment, it tells the algorithm that there's a bit of a community building, and so the channel is worth promoting, because that's what the companies that give us YouTube virtually for free, these platforms, they make their money off how many human attention minutes they can capture and hold. And so whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, if you make a little bit of effort on our behalf, then
Mhm.
the algorithm will notice that, oh, that channel is starting to get attention, and it'll advertise us more to more people. And it will also, it's not just advertising like generally, it's really specific to what all your likes and other channels that you're following. So it helps us to understand who's our community that's building. It would be really lovely to be able to see that.
Correct.
Mm,
Exactly. So let's start today with Disclosure Day, something that some of
yeah,
our
wow. I paid to go to a movie.
I did. Oh yes. Oh, and you paid for it online. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I bought it on, I waited and I bought it on Apple TV, because I'm in Israel, it's a bit hard to
Oh, yeah.
navigate oneself around. And I live in well, currently I'm living with um my aunt, and she's in Beersheba, which is like the beginning of the desert, like the town, the beginning of the desert. And so there is a cinema. I think there's only the one. But everything is hard because it's in Hebrew, and I would have to go on my own. And
Mhm.
most of the movies are on at night, and I would have to spend money on taxis and stuff. So I thought I'll just wait
Mhm.
until it's on my laptop.
Yep. Yep. So,
Didn't have to
okay.
wait very long.
So
It was,
everyone would have heard of it. If not, it's a Steven Spielberg movie. It's kind of like one of his first movies, E.T., Titanic. Like he does the big blockbusters. So most likely you would have heard it. So it's very much about social, preparation. Enough people will have their eyes on it. So it's big stuff in our culture, right?
mhm.
Um, and what both of us have agreed on is that the idea of aliens or extraterrestrial beings or just other sentient life forms is not foreign to either of us. Like we are definitely open to this happening, and also that they're actually benevolent. They're not out there to like of course there's good and bad, there's duality in all things, but yeah, we found it very quite uplifting for humanity to watch something like to have this
Mm.
available, and a soft disclosure essentially that
Yeah, I
not
sort
a
of
lot.
see it as like a pre-disclosure disclosure.
Yes,
It's like
yes.
like you said, like a really soft thing. So there are a lot of people. There's like two camps of response that I've been noticing online, and there's the people who think it's a sci-fi movie
Yeah.
and they think it's a bit lame as a sci-fi movie. And
Mhm.
as a storyteller myself, trying to create story that helps people understand a concept, I totally empathize with Steven Spielberg and the writers and directors and everyone involved in creating that story, because it's really hard to create a fantastical story when you also have these other parameters of making sure that um, you have a representation of real events that are actually occurring, but they're not mainstream.
This is like the Roswell. This is what happened.
Yeah. So
Finding.
these if and the other side of the response to the movie has been like our response, which is, wow, that's really cool that that's now going mainstream, that people are going to have an opportunity to understand that that's actually been happening. Yes,
Yeah.
just because they didn't tell you. And we do come from an era of, like the last 50 years, my entire lifetime, probably before that too, but I wasn't here to know. Of, trusting the establishment, because we probably, I don't know if we've ever actually been able to trust the establishment, but we have certainly thought that we could. And I grew up my whole life until, I don't know, 2020 was when I really understood not so much the trusting of the establishment anymore. And that was a very rude awakening, like to do with my own health. And I'm now able to see that the establishment is actually made up of the same traumatized frequency, and that establishment is embedded inside families and communities and relationships, etc. It's the same frequency. It's, we can call it whatever we like, but it's it's a frequency that can like masquerade as being helpful, being parental, and then at its will turn around and use your trust to have power over you.
Yeah.
And
100%.
and no matter which context it's in, it's the same frequency. So once we start understanding that we're metaphysical first and we need to perceive the world via what frequency is that? Because it can look like many different things in the physical world, but if you take it back a step and you go, oh, what thoughts are happening to then roll out into the physical world, you actually find that if you're looking to describe it in terms of frequency, what does it feel like, rather than in terms of what does it look like, you find that all these things that look yucky, they all feel the same way. But because we're focused or have been focused on what things look like outside of us, we think that they're different. But if you do it somatically, you will feel they're all the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
There's something
rather than it's starting to be time to not look out there, but look out there so you can look in here. It's like a dance. Yes, we are physical. Yes, we have eyeballs. Yes, we're looking at the world, and yeah, we do have to deal with it in a physical way as well as a metaphysical way. So you can't say physical or metaphysical. It's not or anymore, it's and. So it's time for us to start to consider the metaphysical roots of what has manifested into the physical. See the physical as evidence of the metaphysical, and therefore you can look inside the mind. If you see it that way, you can look inside the mind of a person, you can feel their motivations. You can start to understand not the differences but the similarities.
Yeah.
So that's how I'm looking at everything now. It's quite strange. We're having quite strange conversations, aren't we? How my perception is coming closer and closer into the unity consciousness perception of things. So I'm perceiving everything like less divided, a lot less divided, and understanding. I may have been alluded to this side of the coin, but what is the whole entire coin? It has two sides, and then what happens when you put those two sides together and you have the whole entire coin? And so this is how I'm starting to speak, which is probably a little interesting for Xanthia because I'm changing how I'm saying things.
It seems to be like almost instantly when you click, when you get something, and then it comes up in real life for the test for you to see it. It's like there's a
Mhm.
lot of parallels now happening really in rapid time with
You can
your
see that in my
yeah.
life.
Yeah.
Mm.
When you start getting like you're onto something, and we'll go into the trauma bond stuff, it seems to then it shows up in one way, which is linked to another way, which is, linked to, something that in my life, like it's all starting to, because
Yeah.
you've got a higher perspective, I think. When you come from unity consciousness, you are coming from that mouth of the river, like, and you're looking
Yeah,
down.
yeah. It's like I've stepped out of the lake.
Yeah.
I've stepped out of the lake that's at the bottom. I can still see the lake. I can
Of course.
still I can
It's
still know
coming at
what's in the lake.
you.
But
Yeah.
I'm sort of like I'm walking around on the banks and I can see what's in the lake around other people as well.
Yeah.
And this is bothering me. This focus thing is bothering me. I don't know why. I'm going to move myself over. Maybe that. No, see here? It's hazy. It's
Oh
bothering
yeah,
me.
I have like
I don't
half
know
a
why.
head. Yeah.
Anyway,
So I guess
I
how would we
have to
relate
get
this
over them.
to disclosure day? Because I guess that's a
Oh,
progression of that main character, her empathy that grows from that bird that opens her up to
yeah,
her.
it's I totally understand how she's confused. I totally get the confusion thing.
Awakening. Yeah.
I can totally relate to that because in the beginning, like when things started to like I didn't have a bird speak to me.
Mm.
I don't really, I mean, I don't perceive it that way, but you do have to represent it in a film.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Well, they
and
said
so
that in the film. They come as animals. They come as something that you
yes.
recognize. Yeah.
So unity, yeah, so they framed it as unity consciousness essentially is coming um is appearing to people in a manner that feels comfortable for them. And so
Mhm.
nature is generally comfortable because nature doesn't have the human mind judgment. Um, it just is. It's much more unity consciousness, and they have a unity consciousness perception. So nothing's off the table. Everything that's there is acknowledged, and not judged, which is really lovely.
Yeah.
So, this bird, which turned up in the movie to be visiting both the main characters at different times of their life, was the awakening, spirit of awakening. Whether it's more religious terminology would be the spirit of something, more scientific would be the energy of something, but it essentially is like a particular frequency that connects to a maybe a dormant frequency within the human system.
Well, only use 10% apparently. That like it's
Say again.
definitely
Say that again.
our brain capacity is at 10% apparently. You
Well,
know how
yeah, well,
yeah.
I don't know how they measure it. It's like there's a really old measurement, and I don't know how they come to measure that, but I certainly notice myself that there is a potential within every human being,
Mhm.
and that potential, I can feel that potential in
Mhm.
people. And that's why I want to back them because I can feel the potential.
Mhm.
Even if I can't see it in their life, I still feel that potential of the person, and to I want them to reach it. I want them to walk little bits of that potential into their life, and so they can see the potential in the physical, not just leave it dormant. And
Mhm.
I have always known of my potential, and so because I couldn't see my potential being realized, I went on a really different track to try to realize that potential. And I think that's something that you've been doing in your life. You've been trying to get to your potential, and you went in down certain roads, which have helped in some ways, but it hasn't been enough. And then like some people are just, hell bent, as an inappropriate expression, on reaching that. Yeah. And other people are not they're just not focused on that. And I'm starting to discern the difference, and I'm starting to look for how do I know, because I can see the potential in everyone. How do I know who to consciously connect into, who to give my conscious linking of energy to, and also at the same time, and I'm learning this through the the mischievous nature of these trauma bonds that exist, because we have bonds, right? Everything is relational in life, and
Yeah.
sometimes, well, I think almost everyone has trauma bonds. You're very lucky if you don't have one. And so this is really how I'm starting to see how we unleash our potential. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Remove ones.
yeah, I was asked yesterday when I was explaining that one day Xanthia will graduate being my apprentice, and I won't have to be in that metaphysical parental role of being with her and walking the road and being a little bit like a lollipop lady that says, yes, it's safe to come over here, or, like, come this direction, don't sit that way, sit this way. Oh, you like seeing it this way? Okay, walk this way. And so I'm like a tour guide in the metaphysical. I'm interpreting the physical into the metaphysical to help Xanthia do that and make her own decisions about things. And one day she will graduate. There'll be nothing more that I need to point out to her. She'll just see it already. She'll feel it. She's had enough experience of being around me to do it the same way. And then she starts to do it in her version of living her potential in life. And the reason why I was saying that was because I was making the point that I won't have to be in that parental contract with her. Sure, we'll be business partners and we'll be great friends, and we'll probably still want to live around each other, and our dogs want to live the rest of their lives together, etc., etc. My aunt asked me, so how will she get to graduation, which gives her her own connection, full connection to source, so that she can independently live like that. And I said, well, you just got to undo every trauma bond. You got to find them. You got to change your expectations to undo the battery, to stop putting energy into it, and keep undoing batteries, essentially. Keep changing expectations, which are beliefs. And then you will have your freedom.
Yeah.
And how long does that take? It takes as long as it takes. Some people just jump in and they gonna just, like, I'm a Sagittarian, just jump in the deep end and figure out how to do it. And some people are slower, and matters not. There's no judgment on how long it takes. It really doesn't matter. It matters that it happens. It matters that your freedom, freedom to live your potential, freedom to be your am. So I see that as like instructional in the movie.
Okay. Yeah. In
Disclosure Day, I see the whole entire movie helping people understand that the potential that we have as human beings coming into this new context where our metaphysical environment is shifting enough now that we have potential to heal the trauma, because they had that in the movie where they had to heal the trauma to be able to live their potential, to have that telepathy and to have all that ability to live as they am and not live under the umbrella of all this wounding that everyone else is living through.
And
Like the scene of when she just when she was walking through that crowd of people who are trying to stop her,
Oh, yeah.
and she doesn't know what's going on, but she's being shown we see the evidence of
Oh,
her
that's-
metaphysical self actioning in the world. She doesn't know what's
Mm,
going on. She doesn't know what she's saying. She's unaware of it. But she will
mm.
come to know it in her consciousness once she heals her trauma.
That's right. Yes.
Yep.
And she's fully embodied. She becomes one with her cosmic and her human mind, and there's no conflict anymore, and she can walk forward. Because essentially cosmic means that we belong to the galactic. Like we're not just a human.
We're
Like
not
we
here alone. Well, we have been here alone. We have
yeah.
been here alone because we've been in a really dark, heavy, oppressed time, a frequential time. Like our planet is only just starting to alleviate that. Um, I've lived that. I mean, I cried in the movie. I wonder if anyone else cried
Yeah.
when they're
It's
watching.
Yeah, I can see how you can. I think I was just fully in it. So I didn't I was keen to like, review it in the moment. So I wasn't feeling it as much. I was just more like, oh, this is what's going on. They're talking about
Yeah,
that
yeah.
on the
Well, I
bottom.
was doing that in the beginning. I've made notes I was WhatsApping myself while I was
Mm.
watching. And then, I've got all these intellectual kind of notes. And then I have this note that says, crying twice. First time on the line, this is disclosure day.
Mm.
And it felt like, to me, I wrote,
Humanity's ready.
like, finally we are being released from a lie.
We're ready
That,
for it. Yeah.
yeah. And I know that I've spent all of my life until probably now-ish. Um, I I think even it was just yesterday, wasn't it? This event that happened that we had to deal with, um, triggered me, or it signaled me,
Mm.
through watching Xanthia having to play the role of me back in Melbourne
Mm.
to do with my family. Um, and it led me into understanding that there's only one person left who
Mm.
is continuing on a trauma bond that I'm not consenting to. I've been aware of it, but I hadn't really been aware of the lack of freedom from it until I saw Xanthia embroiled in it. And then I saw how reprehensible it is because I'd been used to taking it. Whereas when
Mm.
I saw someone else playing the role of me, I recognized, oh no, 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 no. Not even like not even a little bit. It's just absolutely ridiculous. And it confirms what I've known all along, what I've wished for my family to do, which I've had to force them into doing by me doing it on my end, is I've always wanted them to treat me the way that they treat strangers.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
Respect.
that's a very, very oppressive environment to grow up in, where you see that they are treating, I mean, they don't treat strangers very well. Like if they only treat them that way because they think they need them or they might need them.
Mm.
Um, and and now that I've got to the whole metaphysical first, and I'm having all these different interactions, and I'm seeing how the potential of life, because
Mm.
I'm not in active relationship with family members, and when I come back into active relationship with them, I see the difference in frequency of how I live every day, how
Mhm.
that feels every day, and then I'm embroiled in their frequency. I get to have like a reality check of metaphysical reality, and and I see the
Mm.
the the darkness and the oppression and the childishness and the lack of love and no truth. It's all malleable, that their truth is all malleable. And it's the furthest away that you can be from unity consciousness. And so now I'm really seeing how I grew up in that. And I
Yeah.
see why it's so hard to get yourself out of that situation in the physical, because you still have the metaphysical trauma bond and you don't know when it happened, and you don't know, and it's elusive, very elusive, very tricky. Because if it wasn't, it would be gotten rid of before now. But the benefit of what we're coming into now, which the movie actually gives you like it's
Right.
almost like permission to believe that
Mhm.
the world is changing. Like behind the scenes, the world is changing. And if you want to understand how it's changing behind the scenes, you now have opportunity to look for it. I think
Mhm.
that's the biggest thing that the movie gave us,
Can be
is that
main
it's
like this.
mainstream saying this stuff this is potentially real, because the mind doesn't know the difference between history or imagination, like memory or imagination, or if you're watching a film. That's why I could cry. Yeah,
Yeah.
because the mind, I'm putting it on the stage of my mind and I'm getting caught up in the story. So I'm watching her having this moment. She's about to tell the world this is disclosure day. And
Oh yeah.
she has like she has
Yeah.
what we would call alien intelligence running through her. So is a fully awakened like star seed. Yeah. So she's fully awakened. She understands. She's got full connection now. She's got
Like an,
nothing opposing her connection to the unity consciousness.
like an Elizabeth April, like that kind of vibe. Kind of like, like somebody
Yeah,
who,
I wouldn't compare it to anyone that we know or have seen, because I don't think anyone's really that clear. I think that's a future potential of clarity. I don't think we could ever say, oh, you know, she, I just think I haven't seen anyone yet demonstrate that kind of absolute alignment, because we don't see a person every day of their life. We just see what they do in front of the camera.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to keep that in mind. And we also have to keep in mind this is a movie, right? So it's potential. But even so, even if we're seeing something being, illustrated for us, audio visually illustrated for us, and it is fiction, because it's not fact, it's fact-driven fiction. We are we're presented with something that we may say is illustrated imagination, and we get the opportunity to see how we feel about that.
Well, I know that scene. I think it's where the second time that you cried, where they show like it looks like real footage of
Mm.
the crash, and they see, body
Roswell, yeah.
aliens as well. So like that got me. I remember being like, ah, shit, that feels really real. That does. I reckon that,
Yeah.
mm,
Well, my reaction to that was, wow, humans have been absolute monsters, and
yeah.
they've hidden what they've done.
A lot of
And
hiding.
that's been my entire childhood life. Now that I'm reconciling it with the last living member that has that frequency running, and how deceptive he has now shown me that he is, or I've awakened to it. Like in the case of him, I can't trust anything because of the lack of communication and the hiding of information. So therefore, you can't trust someone, because half a truth is half a lie, and you don't know which half. And so it's better to say, well, I have to either ask 100 questions to try to get the whole truth, or just don't believe anything until it shows you in the physical what the proof of the truth is. And so I've come to that point and realized my family member, my brother, is carrying the same frequency as my father, and therefore I was embroiled inside that frequency of holding my father's lies more than I have awareness of. It's a constant running of that frequency. It's not just when you're triggered. People have to understand that the trauma bond happens, it's all the time. It's just not presenting in the physical all the time. It's hidden.
Yeah. This is
Yeah.
the emotional attachments is another way to look at it. Though they're happening in your aura, in whenever you're sending
Yeah.
thoughts about them, they're sending you thoughts. Yeah.
Well,
It's
yeah, the
root-
metaphysical, the reality of the metaphysical is vast. We have had no understanding of it whatsoever, and I'm just coming to it now. Like when people say thoughts are things, if you really understood how powerful and effective your thoughts are in other people's orbits, whether
Yeah.
they become physical thought, they find their way into physicality that you can see,
Mhm.
you know, you wouldn't want to think anymore.
Well, it
You
reminds you
wouldn't
of
want
that.
to,
Yeah,
you wouldn't want
like,
to because you don't know the effect and the flow on effect. Like,
well, thick bones may break my bones, but words will never leave me. Like that's a classic saying that it's true because it's like your thoughts attach and that can carry a wound, a bruise can heal. You know, your
right,
physical, you can heal a bone that breaks. But if you have been thrown words from a 3-year-old, we've seen how that changed your world. We've seen like how somebody saying, be a good girl changed my world. It's like though they stay with you. They attach. They
they
yeah.
become effective. They have effect. They have effect for years and years and years.
Metaphysical.
And how do they stop having effect? That's the question that everyone needs to know the answer to. So in my case, they stop having effect when you bring the truth, the absolute truth, into
Mm,
awareness. Yeah. So
mm,
you have to become aware, and this is what I'm starting to really, really understand. So, like the earth method, I've been practicing that for years, and I've been practicing on all of these situations, friends and family and all this stuff, and inside myself. But it's been a really hard journey to share that with people, because there's been really no context for it, because a lot of people, they don't understand why they would need it because they don't have big enough problems. That you need a really big problem, don't you, to go solve, this have awareness of something that happened in your childhood and how it's affecting you and blah blah blah. Now that I'm understanding the circuitry of relationship, yeah.
yeah.
So every human being lives inside of many, many different circuits of relationship.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
when a person is thrown a big rock of words and they emotionally get stuck to them, the people in that circuit, that relational circuit, traumatize. They're associated with those words. So it's not about blame, it's just about this is what happens.
mhm,
So, my example, when I was 3, I'm standing in the playground playing with my mum in the metaphysical because she was metaphysical and I was both, um, physical and metaphysical. And the teacher came and saw the physical and asked me, "What's going on?" And I told her I'm playing with my mother. Well, what that wasn't the wording, but that's essentially what happened. And then that's what she understood. And um, she told me my mother was gone. So she threw a bunch of words at me, and the emotion came from when I looked just above my head to the left, which is where I last left my mother because I was playing with her, and then I went over here with my focus. So this is something that I did in the physical that was very metaphysical. Yeah, because my
mhm,
mother was in the metaphysical. We're talking about thoughts that are in the metaphysical. And I confirmed the truth of those words. And that
mhm,
created a shock because I was not perceiving I was any different to my mother. I needed my mother. She was my safety. I was physically looked after by my earth family who had no connection to the cosmic unity consciousness. And I was emotionally looked after by my mother who had all the connection to
mhm,
unity, cosmic unity consciousness. And I no longer had her. And
mhm,
so that experience tells me so many things, so
mhm,
many things about how the relational circuit gets twisted into trauma. So that was a twist between in the relationship, the circuit, the perception of the relationship. between me and my metaphysical mother, which I was able to resolve on the 10th of April. But it also gives me insight into the emotional nature, or the twisted emotional nature of the trauma bonded circuit that I had with my father and now my brother because of the context. Yeah. So living through those things gives me an opportunity to understand the felt truth of what occurred here. And it brings me closer to the cosmic truth. And you've had the same thing. You've had experiences that are there so that you can see when you didn't have the cosmic truth, you had a twisted version because of some language being thrown at you and it was emotionalized context. So it's not always that language hurt you. It's the context made your nervous system very alert. Something was said by someone and, and it stuck. And then you've been able to track your disgruntled nature of that trauma, that the words being really powerful in your world. You don't understand that that's the twist. That's the traumatic twist in the circuit.
Yeah, you're too young.
But you're too young, so you just live through it and you experience it. And at some point, if you decide, rather than learn how to live in that trauma bond, you decide you want to learn how that trauma bond works. So it's really just a relational circuit that has had some words, like a big rock of words, damage it. And then you've got like a patch on it that isn't truth. How is that patch being effective in your life? It's making you feel certain ways, making you interact in certain ways that you're not liking. And if you put your attention on that interaction, that metaphysical stuff, rather than on the physical stuff, you fight your war in the mind rather than in the physical, then all of a sudden you're starting to do the work that you're meant to do here.
Yeah, that's what they say with astrology. Always look at the stories, or like not just astrology, like when you start doing the self-improvement work and you start going down this road, it's always about but it's really hard to get those beliefs because you've been believing them for so long. So you really
Right.
have to
That's right. Yeah.
about how and like talking to a good friend, getting a teacher, like actually somebody living is the best way to actually get the truth as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
Self-help
just yesterday, for me, I mean, I do a lot of this work on my own and it takes a lot of time and I have to have lots of multiple layers of evidence to prove that what is true. And so I have to pay great astute attention to things. But having you witness what occurred yesterday and we're conversing about the events of what are happening, it makes it a lot faster. So in community,
Yes.
you can actually confirm the cosmic truth because the individual truth is aligning to that rock of words that stuck and broken that circuit. But that is very specific to you. Yeah. So I've lived an experience where my understanding as I've come to it is not confirmed by anyone, like no one. No one in my family has lived the same experience as me.
Yeah.
I'm the only little girl who lost her mother. Yeah. I'm the only one who had her in the metaphysical. Everyone else has a perception of what I'm talking about from their understanding of my mother dying when I'm 16 months old. How can I have a relationship with her after that? So anything that I'm talking about, they think it's fantasy. Yeah, because they don't have the same experience as me. And so they're prejudging everything that I'm saying and they can't actually confirm what I'm saying. We're not on a level playing field. They're invalidating my understanding of the world. And so now I'm astutely aware when someone is listening to me, they're asking me a question, and I'm responding from my perception. I'm acutely aware of when they're denying my experience because they haven't had the same experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And most people have had very similar experiences, so they have people, they can find people to confirm it, and I didn't have that. So I have had this lesson of how hard it is to confirm the truth, the cosmic truth, if you don't have community that's willing to hear you and witness you.
Yeah, that's why I changed the name on Instagram for a communal accountability movement, because that's what we're trying to achieve with Millennial Force, is to be that for you, because an Earth session
Yeah.
will do that. You will do that for them. And then you can bring that back to the WhatsApp group and tell, this was my aha moment or whatever it was, or these are my questions. And then that becomes accountable again. So
Yeah.
it is like that. You want
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, exactly. And I that when you was just saying that, it reminded me of what I say all the time. Like people, because in the earth, part of the earth method is we don't judge the story. Yeah, we're not,
Yeah.
if it's true for you, it's true.
Yeah.
We're not dealing with absolutes. We're dealing with an emotional issue. This is not science. Your experience of life is subjective, and we're dealing with your subjective experience of life. And we're comparing what you have installed as a subjective experience through perception, which has come through trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most therapy sessions, which are not earth, they're just mainstream, you'll tell your story and the therapist will say, well, but that's not actually true. But you know that that's not true. It couldn't have happened that way. Yeah.
Otherwise,
They are denying your experience of life. It's the most disrespectful thing that you can actually do to someone. It's like making them invisible. Yeah. To deny someone's experience of their life, because everyone's life is subjective. Everyone's life is subjective. And so for another human being to deny your understanding of life is for them to take superiority because they're part of society that all believes the same thing. Well, what if they're all hoodwinked? Because it seems like they have been.
well,
Yeah. I'm
very obvious.
experiencing life in a metaphysical first manner. More so, I mean, it used to just be words, and now I'm noticing it everywhere. Like the messaging that comes to me, which I know is true because I've been watching the patterns of it for years and years. This is how my mother manipulates the world to get me to understand certain things. Whether it's my mother's the go-between with unity consciousness. It's all undivided up there anyway, so it doesn't matter. I've tracked the messaging. I understand the messaging system from 18 years of trying to watch it and trying to understand what am I supposed to understand from this. So I'm very familiar with her ways. She's very, I think I'm familiar with her ways because she's familiar with my ways.
Yeah.
She knows she knows how I react to things and where I get information and how I process things. So she's watching me, I'm watching her messaging. The messaging that has come through to me to confirm what I understood and then walked into my life. I took action, metaphysical action, and then the physical messaging is in line with that. And I'm pretty sure the order of everything is leading up because I'm watching the order. I'm a pattern recognition specialist. So I'm watching the order and I can almost predict what's going to happen next week because I can understand, oh, that needed to happen. Oh, I see. I thought last week I was ready for next week. But then what's happened this week is telling me, oh, right, it's going to play out a bit more like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still
You're
present.
still coordinating things, right? Timing and alignment and stuff, and you're preparing me. So I know that the person that is next to come into my orbit has been completely and utterly prepared because I trust that. I
Mm.
have been prepared, and the interaction that will occur has been informed by me really well and truly releasing the energy from the trauma bond that is the first trauma bond that I
Mm.
ever was placed in. So there were two. There's one to do with my relationship with my mother, and that was released 10th of April. And there's another one to do with my father, which my brother inherited. So kind of. So the bond with my father actually is gone because he's died, and I'm aware of it. So there's no energy in that anymore. I don't think about my dad. But then there obviously was a trauma bond with my brother, which he's now playing out, and that's now been released because the final nail in the coffin of my decision to just let every part of it go, was how I saw there are no limits to this. There are no limits to the destruction that he will create if given the opportunity. There's no limit to it because he's never ever going to become aware that he is compelled by trauma. He's never going to have that awareness because and he doesn't even want to have that awareness. He actually doesn't want to, which means he's never going to. You're never going to unless you want to. He doesn't
You don't.
realize that he's trauma bonded to our father, and because he doesn't have an awareness of it, it still remains in his mind, even though our father's dead.
Yeah, his voice is still in his head, literally,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
telling
yeah,
him, "Don't do that, do this." Yeah, that happens to a lot of people. It haunts them, and they
yeah.
don't
It's like
even
a haunting.
realize.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. It's like a haunting. So now that I've actually addressed the last trauma bond from my childhood, which I wasn't quite aware that it was still having effect, and this weekend it showed up and say, "Oh, look, 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 still
And
here."
it's good that
And
it
I'm
comes
like,
after this
"Oh,
process.
really? I thought you were gone." Now I understand because of understanding
The
the
series of events.
relational circuit and learning how to alter it metaphysically through this other person who's going to reappear.
But
So,
also Disclosure Day, reminding of your cosmic belonging again, being like this.
yes, oh, that was really pivotal. Remember, I said to you the next day after I cried, and I when I cried, it's like I was being released from a lie. So, this whole entire life that we are living, I have underneath all of this awareness, like behind my awareness, I have felt like I'm here and I know it's a lie. Subconsciously, I know it's a lie. All this programming and this trauma and everything is completely fixable. It's a stitch up, complete stitch up. And the way we unstitch ourselves is individuals, one at a time, one traumatized relational circuit at a time. And the goal I understand now, and this is why I do it in using the earth method, is try to find the earliest traumatized relational circuit for a person. Yeah. Like in the movie, it was when they were children and the aliens were sent to give them gifts.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah,
would
yeah.
be that would
Trauma.
then be awoken, right? Later. Well, it was awoken earlier in the guy and then later in the lady. And
Yeah.
but the little bird is the waker upper. When the little bird comes, it awakens the gift that was
It's
given to them. But
a Robert.
their trauma was that they were abducted.
Yes. Yeah. And that was so weird to them, so foreign to that,
And
little mind.
frightening, and so they block it out. So they have a emotionally disassociated
Yeah.
brain
Right.
experience because of that, and they forget everything.
They think that there's
I
something
have
wrong.
experienced that.
What
I
about how she
I couldn't
reoccurred?
remember anything before I was 3.
Yes,
I couldn't
yes.
remember the love because
And
I would have died every day a little bit more if I
yes,
remembered the love.
pursuit of being a news journalist and also moving all the time. Remember how the partner was like, "Oh, we're gonna move again." Like her nervous system was never able to regulate
Well,
because
I moved all the time when I was a kid because my father kept moving us around. There was no stability.
yeah, yeah,
The most stable thing in my life was my school.
yeah.
Like stable. I went to the same school from grade 2 to year 12, and that was the only stability. Every 2 or 3 years, life changed, house changed, family structure changed.
Yeah, yeah.
Constant. Like from when my mother died, when I was 1.5, we were constantly moving. You just get organized and you'd have this and that. And then different partner, different housekeeper, different house, different business, different life. The only
Uh-huh.
thing that was stable was school.
Okay.
And so
Yeah,
that instability didn't help me either.
yeah. They call it army kids, or yeah, you get
Like
moved around.
that. It's like that. And so you're always ready. That's why I can fix things really quick because you're
Yeah.
always made, you're created to be ready for fixing the problem. And
Yeah.
so that's why when yesterday came, well, yesterday, day before came, this experience happened for us, and we're online. And I'm saying to you, we just have to remember that you're not going to be too cold. You have food, you have light, even though it's battery light, and you're not being flooded out. You're okay. It could be better. We could try to make it better, but
Shut up.
you're
Yeah.
still okay, right? You're warm enough. Everybody's warm enough. It's the middle of winter there.
Mhm.
You've got water, you've got food. Nothing's defrosting. You're not losing tons of food or anything, and like you're okay. You've got enough light to get around. It's just like a blackout, etc. You're okay, and now we'll fix the problem. Right? We're not fixing the problem to try to resolve that you're not okay.
Yeah. Not in a panic. Like
Yeah,
that
there's
was
no
important.
emotional panic. There's just a little bit of weird difficulty that we have to navigate through and try to make it happen.
Yeah.
And because we had the emotional okayness, which is the
Mhm.
stability, there's nothing actually like I'm not dying from this. Like it's okay. So I've learned to create that stability when the shit's hitting the fan. I've learned that stability is really, really, really pivotal to how you're going to experience the physical world.
Yeah.
You're not going to re-traumatize yourself by
Mhm.
not having that foundation.
Yeah, you're prepared.
Yeah. So when people come into the earth method with me, I know that they have to feel that stability, that foundation. I provide that for them. They
Mhm.
also need to feel protected cosmically, and I provide that for them
Mhm.
so that we can work inside this protective. We've
Mhm.
got the floor and we've got the ceiling and we're in a bubble and we're safe and we're protected. And now we've got unconditional love. So no matter what happens, we're good.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
now we're going to go for the uncompromising truth, which is going to heal the situation, going to bring it back in line.
Mhm.
You're going to find the lie and find out what's true. And that's the realignment that happens from that awareness of those two things. Yeah.
Totally.
But you
So I think
can't do it on your own. If you can't verify truth and you can't feel the cosmic love, you have, this is what community is for. And
yeah.
there's different levels of what you can get done in certain parts of the community, but ultimately you need to do the healing, you need what I'm providing. But
Mm.
in community, you don't always have to rely on the one person. You have
Yeah.
like
Well,
there'll be people who are really good at finding the truth, and there'll be people who are really good at supplying that foundation. So work all together. You know?
Aquarian, very much so. Well,
Yeah.
there was just to bring it back to the movie with the character Jane, the
Mm.
guy's partner, and how she had the church community help her
Oh,
realize
yeah.
it's bigger than us. Like, this is
Yes.
you gotta do what's right for
Yeah. And
humanity.
I really also just realized how you saying that, because I appreciated the character of
Mm.
Jane, because she brought up in the beginning, how are people going to cope with
Yeah.
the actual truth, right? When they've been indoctrinated for this deity or that deity, and they've hung their hats on that. They've been hanging on to that for such a long time. And I've been saying that in the Piscean era, we really have needed those texts to attach to those texts to get us to here. But now all the people who are very attached to those texts are going to learn the truth, which is actually they're just like a story inside a bigger story. And now that little story is finished and we've got to adjust to the big story now. That's going to be really hard. So that's what Jane was saying. How are they going to cope with the change? She was worried. But in the end, it was really interesting, like what you just said now, in terms of what did you just say? You said, oh, in community, yeah, the church, the mother, the sister, the mother, I don't know, the Catholic church woman, the nun, she's a nun. The last scenes of her watching the broadcast were really beautiful because it tells people, even if they're not aware of it yet, it tells people that there are feminine personalities inside the church
Mary
who
Magdalene.
have not been able to speak and tell you what they underneath understand or happy to accept.
Yeah.
But they are there. And what was the line when Jane asked her if you were told there were aliens? She rang her and she said, if you were told that there are other beings out there, and what did she say? She said something like,
Yeah, I have to rewatch it, but it was like, tell them, like, don't hold back.
yeah, and there was this question of, she quoted some scripture, but she didn't quote the last bit. Like, God made us, the supreme creative beings on earth was the bit, right? So Jane is saying, but didn't God make us the supreme beings? And
That's right.
and then she said, on earth, God
Yeah,
loves
that's right.
everyone. Yeah, God is unity consciousness. Therefore, there's no division. There's no separation into who's the good kid and who's the bad kid, right? We're all God's children. Even the aliens are God's children. And it's a matter of all working together in community to help each other be all the good kid. We can all be on the side of being on the good team. We
Well,
don't
on that
have to be
note,
divided,
yes, well, the divided part, I think it's worth noting about the opposition. I thought it was really interesting. It was like Big Brother, the cameras, and how quickly they can fucking find you. Like, if you, with the technology that they've got is so advanced, and there's good hackers and there's bad hackers, obviously, but like, just how much is manipulated, and big corporations, because they're faceless, they can get away with all this, like,
Because they hide. Yeah, because they're hiding. And
hiding.
so
Even with
yeah,
the
there's two things that I get out of that. It's the nature of the opposition to hide, right? Hiding's lying. They're off the line of truth. And if we think of the opposition not as the actual physicality of them, but the metaphysicality of them, we think of them as frequency. That is the opposition.
that they want to.
It's the enormity of that oppositional force, the force of the thought, right? That's coming through into the physical. It's a particular frequency. It's a frequency that I can almost smell it, right? Because now I understand. I've seen it in enough people and how it's connected. And it's like, I get you. I get how
Is that what?
that's like a trauma. Yeah, the opposition is like a trauma that's just grown bigger and bigger and being passed around and used to, it's like a big rock that keeps getting thrown around, yeah, and traumatizing relational circuits.
Narcissism, we call it in the
Yes,
physical.
which we would call like narcissism, but we keep focusing on the narcissist rather than focusing on that frequency of the thought that is attached through that person. So their behavior is through that. And some people force themselves to not behave like that. Some people alleviate the trauma so they don't have to behave like that. And others embrace that trauma frequency and they use it They're hanging on to it and they're using it for their own benefit. They don't want to
Well,
let it go because it's
CEO,
powerful.
yeah, I was going to say a lot of people in these powerful positions have to harness it, have to
That's
be those
right.
kind of
Because unconditional love of the unity consciousness won't allow the division of I'm good, you're bad. We're all good. Yeah. So the only way that you can have such power in division is to be on the side of the powerful. Therefore, you have to have a vertical hierarchy. And this is what the patriarchal system embraced. Because, in the patriarchal system, the energy of the male is singular focused. So you can forget about everything else. But when you have a matriarchal system, you're multi-focused, right? You might only do one thing at a time, but you're looking after all the children, right? So you have this overriding caretaking energy that's in a matriarchal system, which is much more what Aquarius, comparing Pisces to Aquarius, that's what's missing. But Aquarius is not a matter of dumping the masculine for the feminine, it's the unification of both. So
Yeah,
we're
because
coming out of Pisces, which dumped the feminine to embolden the masculine, and now we need to bring the feminine back in because it's two halves of a whole. That's what unity is. And so we're missing that half. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And Aquarius can be fixed air sign, so you don't want the black and white. You've got to really come back to the merging and the collaboration, the group, the community.
That's right. And so, I mean, that's the line in the movie. It's the two of you. It's always been the two of you,
Yeah.
right? And so in the physical world, it's masculine and feminine uniting. In the metaphysical world, it's the masculine and feminine uniting. So it's closer to unity consciousness. So this is how we achieve unity consciousness in a divided world.
It's too big hole inside.
Is to have unity inside you, the masculine and feminine within you. You unify it, and then in relationships you can unify the masculine. It's not male and female. It's not about the body that you're in. It's the energy that you're in. So if you have two masculines in an intimate relationship, you'll have a war because you just there's no balance. It's all about singular focused action is the masculine. So it doesn't matter what body you're in. It matters, like you can have a man who holds more feminine energy and isn't singular focused a lot of the time. So then that person needs to combine with someone who has that they might be in a female body or not, doesn't matter. And then, but they have the corresponding balance of the metaphysical.
That polarity also for sexual tension, for there to be like in the bedroom. There's also that.
That's right. And you don't have to be 100% masculine, 100% feminine. Whatever
Right.
your natural balance is. So you take away all the traumatized relational circuitry, heal all of that. You find through the truth will set you free from that. You heal that, you find your natural balance of masculine and feminine, which unify within you, right? So you have unification within yourself, in your metaphysical self. Then in pairing you with somebody else, until both people are unified, you're going to need the natural kind of masculine, feminine to be matching, like a puzzle piece that fits in together until you have individual unification. So anyone who's unified can partner with anyone else who's unified because everything is balanced from within each person. So understanding this as we move into the cosmic age that requires unification is pretty darn important.
You don't want to just be sleeping with anybody because that can take you off that.
No.
and
Well, that's
unify.
part of your trauma, right? So it's really, really important. Like I was saying to you yesterday, if we want to change society, we have to change the smaller communities. To change the communities, we have to change the partnerships, and inside that is the individual. Everything is made up of the individual,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the individual human is given creative license, right? Think of it like that. We're born into creative license in this world. The problem is that when our relational circuitry gets traumatized, we behave in ways, we create in ways that are often destructive rather than life-giving, right?
Yeah.
So all creation is going to come through the mind of the human. So if you have 98% human mind running, whatever's in that human mind is going to be created. Yeah. And so this is the really important part. People are still of the belief that they create only through their conscious mind, the mind that they're aware of, the mind that they can see in front of them. That is not true. We are creating through our entire mind, most of which is subconscious. We're not aware of it. So if you have a lot of traumatized relational circuits, guaranteed, triggered or not, you will be subtly creating through those traumatized circuits, whether it be being the victim, yeah, acting like the victim, just subtly all the time, creating other kinds of relational bonds that mimic the original one. And that's why I'm adamant that what happened yesterday and observing what was happening as you played the role of me, and I could see what my brother was doing to me because you were standing in as me. Does that make sense? You were playing the role of me, and he treated you the way that he treats me, which I found disgusting, but that's how he's treating me. Why was I not disgusted before? Because I didn't really see it because I'd been so used to being treated that way. So it was really informative. And that is one of the original relationships in my existence that had been trauma bonded, right? They bonded through trauma. So I had had a lie sitting in that relational circuit, I don't know, since infancy, since my brother lost his mother, his 3-year-old. So he has been mistreating me through his trauma, creating a trauma bond with me. I'm the one that he takes out his anger on because I'm littler than him.
Yeah.
But when you're in your 50s,
Yeah.
him being 55 and me being 53, I'm not littler than him. I've spent 20 years of my life, maybe more, investigating why am I being misused all the time? So I understand a lot more, and he hasn't thought 1 second about anything, which means I'm probably 20 years wiser than him because I had the problem, because I was the battery in that circuit. I kept that circuit alive by waiting for him to be a proper brother. And now, like, I waited for my father to be a proper father. I waited for everyone in my family to do their job properly, and no one ever has. And so now that I saw how he treats me by watching
Yeah.
how he treated you, I'm like, no, you've lost all your credits now. You're out. I'm not funding the circuit. And that's how I feel. It's like I'm not giving my love energy into that circuit because that circuit is broken.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let it just dissipate. Because he doesn't give any energy to that circuit. He takes energy from that circuit. But what's there to take if I'm not putting it in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, think about every circuit is like a bank account, and the deposits are made by me.
But
When
yeah.
he needs something, I have to give him my energy. But in
Yes.
between times, I forget that I'm actually still, because you haven't consciously said no more, you're still giving it, right? You forget that you're doing that. And
Cords attached, and like you have to get like an emotional in your head, like a sword, and cut these
Well,
these
you have to
or
like make a deal-breaking decision, right? Like
yeah,
it's an energy deposit that you're making into this bank account, and you have to make a decision. No more.
yeah.
I do not have any obligation to give that. I'm stopping now. No more. Deal with yourself. Like the next time I get any communication from this person who happens to have come out of the same vagina as me, I will ask him, in what capacity are you communicating with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As your as
Are
your
you communicating as my brother, I'm your sister? Then send me an email.
Mm,
If you're communicating as the head of this blah 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 that I'm connected to, you tell me. If you're connected to this blah 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 that I'm connected to, you have to make it obvious. I now understand that he has multiple hats. He is using all those hats without saying which hat he's got on. He's
yes.
owning people because of power structures and ownership rights and voting rights and things like that.
Conscious,
And
insidious
I decided
belief.
he's not going to own me.
Yeah.
No
Yeah.
more energy from me. He has not deserved it. And I have to withdraw my depositing energy from him to do the best thing for him. So, this is something I realized yesterday. He doesn't have an awareness that there's a problem. He doesn't have an awareness that he's trauma bonded to me. He doesn't have an awareness that he's the traumatizer. He doesn't understand any of this. He thinks that he's the one that's been disgruntled and and used and abused because he has a trauma from his mother dying. So he doesn't even have awareness that his father yelling at him to shut up and not be able to express his grief traumatized him. Children can get used to anything if
Love
they're
that.
listened to.
Really
Yeah,
deep in little
just
boys.
let them express themselves and stop stopping them. Let them cry, let them yell, let them scream. Ask them what they mean. I want to connect with you. Yeah, I want to I want to be able to take what it is you're putting down. I want to pick it up. What you're putting down, I want to pick it up. Make sure you keep telling me what it is. Make sure we're on the same understanding. Children will adapt to anything if you give them that love. You don't judge what they're doing.
Emotional
But he
safety.
was judged. He was forced to stop. He was yelled at. He was bribed, no doubt. He was changed schools so that he could better his reputation and stop being a big baby and blah blah blah. This was a lot of trauma, and the only person that was less powerful than him was me.
Yeah, so he could take
Yeah.
it out on.
So he could
Yeah.
take it out on me, and he would just do it until he'd get in trouble, and then he'd go back. So his definition of everything's okay is no one's telling him off. He's getting away with it. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem in life. I mean,
5-year-old.
that's
Yeah.
not the definition of truth. Getting away with it is not the definition of truth. You can't live on the line of truth of, but I got away with it. Did you?
Mhm.
Are you really getting away with it? Metaphysically, you're not getting away with it. And if we are metaphysical first, no one's getting away with anything. Yeah. And so this is really, really clear for me because I've addressed one of the first trauma bonds that I was still held in. And when you address the first one, like if you're trying to address a trauma bond, say in an intimate relationship, it's actually just a mimic of one that still exists previous. Yeah, it's like a stacking. So think of it like a Jenga tower, and you pull out one from the middle,
Yeah, yeah.
and the top half falls off. And because you had a win, right? You had a win, you think you've won, but you still have half a tower there. And you can still pull out one from the bottom, which is one of the original relationships that's been twisted by trauma and broken by trauma, and then you'll get the whole tower down. So the one from the middle, so if your timeline of life starts here and it goes up, if you're dealing with trauma bond relationships up here, You have to understand that they're actually connected to the ones with your family back here, the first
Okay.
ones. Yeah. So that's why it's really interesting that you're going to Brisbane and you're going to be looking at difficulties in relational circuits with your high school friends because you're going to a reunion and with your family because you'll be around your family. And
Yeah,
you'll come back with
definitely.
a whole lot of perspective
Yeah.
because you've done all this learning away from them. You've done, relational, circuitry changes away from people. And now you're going to go into a really close, triggering kind of environments that will give you lots of information.
Yes, and my I think challenge will be I know they're there and I can see them, but how to like actively bring truth to that in a loving way that doesn't.
Mm-mm. Yeah, you got to walk your belief into
Yeah.
knowing, right? So we all start with ideas that come to us. We don't have any proof yet. So we say, well, I believe it. I think this or I believe this. But when you can say, because you've walked that belief, you've tried to test it and you've got your proof, enough proof and witnessing, right? Witnessing speeds up the proof, but you can get enough proof, enough watching your experience to say, I know this, I know this. I can't imagine there would be anything to come into my mind space that would sway me from what I know. When you can say that, it's not a belief anymore. It's not disappearable. It's not changeable. No one can convince you. That is a foundational knowing that you live your life from. And
Yeah,
that's what
no.
we actually have to start doing. We have to resolve all these relational circuits that have been traumatized so that we can come to a true understanding that we walk into life and know that it's true. And that doesn't happen because someone told you something. You have to
Yeah.
work it. You have to live it. But
Yeah.
it's much faster when you're in community, and it's much faster when you're in community with people who have done it successfully, understand, and can explain it to you. And that's why Millennial Force exists, so that people might, well, that's why we put all this stuff live and clip it so that people have opportunity to go, oh, that thing she talked about. I want to hear more about that thing. Then they can go onto YouTube and they can find all the times we talked about that thing, and they can connect in WhatsApp and they can ask questions. Can you talk more about this in relation to this? Sure. You
Yeah.
know, give us the inspiration. We'll talk about it. So far, we can only talk about our own experiences. We talk about the movie in relation to what we're learning. So even though we said there's two topics, trauma bonding, relational circuits, and the movie, I think we did them at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep coming
Exactly.
backwards and forwards. But there's still, I mean, the reason why I bought this film on Apple TV is because I know I'm gonna eventually watch it maybe 5 times
Yeah.
because there's so much in there, and I capture a lot of things when I'm, processing stuff,
Yeah.
but I still know there's parts of it that because I will continue to grow and understand that I'll watch it again over here and things will have slightly deeper, different meanings.
Yeah, I just got a flashback from, in the opposition, how that guy with the device, Colin Firth, he also treats his employees really poorly. And that just reminded me of the
Yep.
situation yesterday where they are owned by that person because
Yes.
they're the
Because of
higher.
power. Yeah, because of
Oh,
hierarchy and power. Yes.
right.
And
Everyone's
so they treat people poorly.
playing.
Yes. And you notice how the perhaps Christ consciousness character, which is Morgan Freeman,
Yeah,
um, God's rep,
yeah.
like what the oneness or the unity
Everything.
consciousness
The
rep.
one always on the phone doing the script, or the stage production every
That's
time.
right. He's building the set and he treat
Ah,
everyone's very calm. Everyone's part of the collective, the community. And the only time he speaks harshly to them is to protect them. Did you notice that?
yeah, yeah,
When
yeah.
when
When
the
they're
opposition was there, I don't know how he said what he said, but it was
out.
harsh, but from a nurturing place.
Yes, don't disrupt me. Like yeah.
Yeah, like whatever you do, just go out of here. Get out of here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really clear that he wasn't just telling them what to do because he wanted to tell them what to do. He was telling them what to do for their safety. And he'd actually told them to leave the space at another time in the movie. And it was really just, a boss directing. There was no, can we, can I have the space? Can I have the room?
Yeah.
And they didn't have like disgruntled reactions to it. It's like, okay, no problem.
And
Um,
also,
they
yeah,
never, he never got him in trouble, kind of thing.
and even at the end when the house gets invisible, it's like they all work together to get out, and they
Yeah,
all
yeah,
they-
that's right. So it really, there's lots and lots of little things that are symbolic. It's very, very, um, like it's. I feel like there was a checklist of all of these different things that had to be present in the film so that the people who are going to represent the calmness on the
Yeah.
planet when the shit's hitting the fan every direction and people don't know what to do. And so they're going into cognitive dissonance. They can't look, which means they can't prepare themselves, and then they're in more trouble. The people who are going to hold that foundation, all the instructions about everything, every answer to every question, I feel like it's been put in the movie.
Yeah, very much Aquarius themes. They're like, okay, get them ready for this next
Yeah.
for us.
Well, apparently that's a cosmic unity consciousness rule. Like that's a law.
Oh, the consent, do you
There
mean?
has to
Or
be consent, which means there has to be informed consent. Yeah. If it's coming from unity consciousness, it has to be fully informed consent, which means the information has to be put forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no one better to tell the story in such
Original.
an amazing way. It's not just because of his reputation, it's because of his storytelling ability. And he created the first Alien movie. When I was a kid, we went to see E.T. Like we were on holidays and we went to see E.T. The first Alien movie was A Friendly Alien, and it wasn't fantasy, it was a real story.
I feel like he's been visited for sure. He knows
I
what's
think
up.
so. Yeah, I think so. I think he's not just been visited, he's been worked with, like they're working together. He's planted seeds along the way. And of course, he's allowed to make money, right? He's allowed to make money, just like anyone else. Um, but he's been in agreement.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
they
know,
use what do you,
there are
okay, on the last note, what
Mhm.
about the last word, listen? What do you think that is all about?
Um, well, it's like the last instruction that they give you. It's
Like
if you only do one thing, listen.
to your heart, to the cosmos, to each other, like
Everything,
all of
everything.
it.
Listen. Listen. If you want the truth, listen.
Get peace.
Yeah. Yeah, listen. Because you can't listen and talk at the same time.
True.
So just you're going to do something, just listen.
Mm.
Listen, I mean, I would say listen and learn to be discerning about where is that coming from? Who is that coming through?
Or
How
even listen
how many times does it come through? Listen to what that person says about other things. Listen so
yeah.
that you can find the truth, find the knowings, right? Listen. If you just be obedient to the first thing that's brought to you and you're not listening anymore, are you? We have to
Mm.
listen to each other. We have to pay attention. To listen, you have to pay attention. We can't be distracted by doing this all the time.
Yeah, yeah,
You're not
yeah.
listening. Yeah? We don't listen when we're distracted. Quiet. When you want to listen, you've got to be quiet to listen. So it's a beautiful instruction. Listen. And
Mm.
and there will come a time where there will be something to listen to. So listen. because there's
Mm.
more information coming. Just listen. Don't judge. Just listen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, really important. Totally.
Yeah.
That's
And
really
in the meantime, enable yourself to be out of these trauma bonded relational circuits. You can always build new circuits with those people. Just drop the circuitry that's been compromised.
yeah.
Stop
Yeah,
giving energy to the circuit that's compromised and allow new circuits to grow. Yeah.
are
Well,
actually
you
the
have
expectations.
consent, right? You have informed consent now. Because traumatized circuits that have been compromised, actually don't have informed consent. And I'm going to start writing about this stuff. There's a
Yeah.
whole lot of stuff that I got to write about now to bring it forward. And it's very complicated. In my head, it's still complicated. And talking about it helps because I can make sure, that I can write down in my list of things that I have to cover informed consent, and how it's disappeared kind of thing.
That
So
compromises
thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it, Xanthia, and everybody else who's listening.
Yeah, of
Hopefully it's
course.
helpful
Yeah,
to
that
everyone.
compromises the contract, which is what that keeps the trauma bond going. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so
Well, it keeps you giving energy into that circuit
yeah.
because you are hooked on the original contract. You haven't really been informed that the contract's changed. So when you inspire yourself to become informed of how that contract has changed and the intricacies of that contract, then you can say, oh, I don't consent. I'm not giving consent anymore, which means you're not giving energy to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You no longer expect that you have to give energy to it because you didn't agree to it. Yeah. And that's the power. That's the power of the metaphysical. That's the power of your thoughts. And that's why we are the creator beings on this planet. We are the only beings on this planet that can do this, that our thoughts matter. They really matter. And I'm just waiting to see how they're mattering because now that I am not energizing the traumatized or compromised circuitry with my brother who has all this financial power in our family. If he doesn't have love energy that he was getting through me, and I have a lot of it, now he's not going to get it. I'm just waiting to see how that changes things. Now that I'm aware that it does, because there's another relationship that I've done this with. And if I think about it, there are other relationships that I've done with this, and generally I see that they're scared of me. That's what I've picked up so far, is that they're still a little nervous around me because they don't know what happened. They don't know how this, they know it's something to do with me. Okay. They know there's something changed in the connection, but they don't know what to do. They don't know. Well, they're so habituated to the old way, how the circuit ran, that they would be given love, and now they feel without the love. That's
And then
that does track with, in the last 12 months, I've had two people that I've had to disconnect. And I didn't see it that way, but I have now in my memory, I'm thinking about it. There are two people that I've had to disconnect and not give energy into the circuit. And yeah, I've been around them randomly. And yeah, they're nervous. They're nervous around me. They don't really understand. They don't know how to create another relational circuit. And I'm not interested in creating one anyway, because they're just going to try to trauma bond me again in the new circuit. So I'm not really interested. They're not teachable. They don't want to learn, like my brother. They don't want to learn. They want me to compromise myself and stay in a trauma bonded circuit. And that's never going to happen now that I know how it works.
yes, and that's actually my biggest I can see that being my thing because I'm always like, oh, I'll just compromise. It's just way easier,
yeah.
like you don't want to confront with the other person. So that's my learning, is to actually action what I know is something that doesn't serve me and then get a new one.
Yeah, and exactly. And I think there's a misunderstanding, like just in society, because we've been so physically focused rather than metaphysically focused. If you, and we're so expectant that we have to have a fight in the physical, there's going to be confrontation in the physical, but there actually never is. Because if your action in the metaphysical is to no longer give energy, the other person doesn't, unless they're a professional opposition and they have awareness of their oppositional power and they're using it against you, like in their conscious awareness, they're not going to have a clue what happened in the energy circuit of that relational circuitry. When you take the power, you're just undoing one end of the battery, and you can actually just be standing there in the physical, and they don't understand. See, now I'm thinking about it. I did this with my grandmother 3 months before she died. She was just trying to play with me, and she's in hospital. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. And so I was there. I was present. I was there. I was looking after her. I made sure the doctors extended her life until her daughter came back from overseas so she could spend the dying time with her, which is really important. I did it with my father 3 months before he ended up passing away, where I recognized he just wants me to do all the work. He wants me to dance around for him. And that's not respectful. I gave him his opportunity to show me whether he could do the right thing or not. And he showed me he can, he just doesn't want to. And so I disconnected the battery. And it felt completely different. He was unsure about what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And so there's never a confrontation. There just never is. It's like they're just left in mild confusion. They don't know. My sister, I did the same with my sister. I'm just like, no, I've got nothing for you, energy wise. But then she's contacted me and she's been around me, and I'm like, hi. I'm just not emotionally connected. I'm not giving anything to a person if they're not paying with the right currency. And for me, it's humility to accept the truth. And if they want to mismanage what they call the truth, like getting away with it means they're in truth, half a truth, half a lie, as far as I'm concerned. Hiding is lying. Running away from something is hiding, so therefore it's lying. So these are all the mechanisms that people use, and these are compromises on the original circuit. But they're trying to hide that they've compromised the circuit. And if you don't bring your awareness to what they're actually doing, what they're actually hiding, and therefore what the actual truth is, you're going to expect the uncompromised circuit. That's what you're giving money into, your perception of an uncompromised circuit, not the perception of a compromised circuit. Once you understand that what you've got is a trauma compromised circuit, you're not going to want to give to that circuit anymore. Doesn't mean there's any confrontation in the physical. It's just kind of like something drops out and they don't know what it is. And they will feel foolish to tell you that I feel like you're not loving me anymore because they won't have any physical evidence of that. What they'll come to understand is when they're in your presence, they can receive your love. Like when they're standing there and they're in truth, they can receive your love because it's unity consciousness. And when they walk away into their secular, non-unified life, then they don't feel the love. Eventually, they'll learn how to be in the love. You've got to be in the truth too.
But I guess if you're not giving them any of that metaphysical love, it will show in the physical as well, because you just won't want to be around them.
Well, yeah, in a sense, but you can still choose to, it's giving back your choice, right? So my choice is to teach people that being truth and love have to go together. And that's who I am. I put them together. I'm unified. Yeah, I put them back together. They're sticking together through me. So therefore, if you want to come into my space and you want me to connect with you in my space, then you've got to unify too. You've got to accept the unification because that's the truth. Yeah, you can't stand there and lie to me and me consent to give you my unconditional love, because you're conditionalizing things, and that's
Mhm.
not unified. And so for me, I don't want to give someone energy at a
Mhm.
distance, yeah, when they're not in a circuit that's uncompromised.
Mhm.
They have to be in an uncompromised circuit, which is a unified circuit, which is what babies provide. They're
Mhm.
unified when they come in, and they're divided by trauma.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so we have to, this is the whole, the heart of a child. The heart of a child is not divided by trauma.
It's seeing the world
It's
in.
unconditionally loving, I mean, out of the mouths of babes, right? They tell the truth. They just tell the truth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
They'll forgive you in a snap. That's all right. It's all done, right?
Mhm.
Because they don't hang on to it so much, but then it activates later, right? When their prefrontal cortex
Yeah.
accesses the history and those triggers, then it starts to come through in their behavior. But when they're children, they're just absorbing. They're just absorbing it all, and that's why they haven't settled the score. No one's doing the books until they're about 9. They start
Mhm.
working out how to manipulate at 9.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, it's a tricky childhood ladder. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we've been on for a while now, and
Okay, we'll
lots
jump
of
off.
talking.
Yeah.
Hopefully
Great.
it was enlightening for everyone, and there will be more talk about these trauma circuits, no
Oh,
doubt.
yeah,
Um,
I
can't guarantee that we're going to be on for a couple of weeks. Maybe we'll be able to surprise everyone, maybe not. We'll
Mhm.
see.
Yeah,
We will be talking to each other, just
yeah.
not perhaps making content for a couple of weeks. And but all of our stuff will be getting clipped. Xanthia will probably prepare a bit of clipping if she's got time before she goes on holidays and whatnot.
Mhm.
So there'll be
Mhm.
stuff out there for everyone. And yeah, we'll see you all soon.
Exactly. Ciao.
Feeling into harmony, feeling and community, made for you, of course, by Millennial Force.
Just when I think I couldn't possibly learn anything more new, bam. Joanna Ruth hits my heart. Hey, yeah, or my ego.
Ego CEO?
Ego CEO. There's always more to watch. I've got a bit more time. I'm going to watch the next one in the series. Cool. Maybe we can WhatsApp in the group later about it.